these three so far, right? These three we covered so far. We'll go ahead with this today. Okay, vSAN. By the way, what is SAN? First of all,
That is a storage area network.
okay. So what it will give you?
Uh, Store data into block format.
Okay, so if you want to remember the disadvantage of local storage. In local storage, what you can do, you can create a VMs and you can run the business. But the disadvantage is once the host is down, your VM also goes down. Right? That is the reason we need network storage. Agree? In network storage, SAN is the high performance storage. So we need SAN storage. But the problem is there are some customers at the financial if you look at the financial considerations, normal SAN product, let's say, is just in Lehman numbers, not less than 50 lakhs. Okay, but the customer is looking at running only 50 VMs for his business. Mid-range or small or mid-range customer. Okay, he has around 4 hosts and he want to run the business with 50 or 60 odd VMs. That's it. And for that, he cannot really spend 50 lakhs of SAN storage. So then, what you suggest? You suggest run in the local storage. Again, there's a problem, right? He cannot run it on local storage, and he can purchase the he cannot purchase the SAN storage even. Then in that situation, what you will do? You need some alternate option, right? The alternate option is, okay, recently we have got lot many products in the market with the name called hyper converged infrastructure. You want to search? I've also explained in the first sessions, initial basic sessions, I have explained this topic. Okay, let's go to images. Yes, if you look at, I've explained this topic if you remember. Or else in YouTube you have videos on my channel, you can check it out later on. Okay, if you look at the traditional way, you have a SAN storage and you have a normal network, you have a fiber channel network and your servers. So your normal servers will access the storage like this and customers will access the data like this. Okay, in converged what happens, everything is bundled by one vendor, everything is supplied by one vendor. You have a SAN storage and you have a switch and you have a servers, same as it is with the traditional storage, but only difference is in this scenario you have to contact one person for any problem. In this scenario you have to contact multiple persons like HP, who is the supplier of servers, and VMware, who is the supplier of software, and Cisco and Dell EMC. How many? 4 or 5 different vendors you need to talk to. But same products will be supplied by one vendor. It is easy for you to manage your business. That is converged. Nothing to discuss more on this. Okay, let's move on to hyper converged. In this, your server and your storage. There is nothing called SAN storage. The servers normally what we discussed in earlier session, we have a server and it has some local storage, right? It has some local storage, right? The disadvantage is this local storage, you can create a data store and you can keep the VM. But the problem is if the host goes down, data store goes down, and VM goes down. That's the issue. But using vSAN, using vSAN technology, these local these local disk on each host can be converted into virtual SAN. Okay, understood? You don't need to purchase in, let's say I said one customer is there, he require 4 host. Fine, he purchased 4 host. Okay, so normally he has to purchase SAN storage. Agree? And configure SAN storage to all the boxes. This is overhead. He is okay to purchase these 4 servers, but he is not ready to purchase this storage. Okay. In that case, what you can do using vSAN, you calculate how much storage you require for your business. You can calculate it, right?
Yes.
If I want to run 50 VMs on an average, let's say 500 gig, few VMs are 500 gig, few VMs are 100 gig, some of them are around 1 TB or something. Okay, considering everything, your expected storage is 30 TB. That is what the expectation is. Customer requires 30 TB. For that, you don't want to purchase any SAN product. So what we can do, we how many hard disks that we can insert on this, boss? In each server, maximum how many hard disks that you can insert? Agree? I told you in the starting hardware session.
Yes. Yes.
16 drives, right? Okay. So what you can do, you can purchase 14 into 1 TB SAS drives and 2 into 1 TB SSD drives. Fair enough? Means I'll put 2 blue SSDs, rest all SAS drives. Same. So what is the total size? What is the total size? 14 into 4, 56 TB, 56 TB raw size, right? And 2 into 1 TB, 2 TB into 4, 8 TB SSD. This is the raw capacity. So what you can do by using vSAN, okay, might be my calculation is little wrong, but practically it works in a such a way. You can create one common data store. Okay, you can create one common data store and add all the hard disk into this. Okay, so failover capacity or failover tolerance or fault tolerance of this, I can say one host. One host means if one host goes down, it's okay. I can still run run the business. So means at any point of time, this much capacity will be in reserve. Let's minus 14, minus 13. How much? 40. 43 is the raw capacity. 13 will be in, sorry, let's remove one drive. Let's remove one drive. One drive means why one drive? Spare drive. If something goes wrong, immediately the spare drive will help in each server. Okay, so remove 4 drives. So it become 52 TB raw capacity. It is there in the system, but we will not consider in the calculation. That means this is become 13. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Now out of 52 minus 13, how much? So 39 TB raw capacity will be visible after removing overhead and all. You will see somewhere around 33 TB data store. Means on the back end, actually on the back end 52 TB, but one host capacity will be in reserve, just like your RAID 5 n minus 1. One hard disk capacity will be in reserve, right? N minus 1 RAID 5.
Yes.
Okay. Similarly here, if you are considering one fault, or it can tolerate one failure, means if one host goes down, my business should not interrupt. In that case, remove remove one host capacity from the calculation. That will be in reserve always. Okay, but anyway, all the disk will be formatted, but the logic it works just like a RAID. Understood? So you will see after, normally you will get somewhere around 39 TB is the raw capacity after formatting overhead and all. Okay, let's consider around 33 TB raw space you will get. Data store size is 33 TB. What is the actual size? 56. After considering all the failovers, after considering the overhead and considering the 4 spare drives and all, it become 33 TB. So matching with your criteria. Customer is asked for 30 TB. I gave him 33 TB. Happy? Okay.
Yes.
But the problem is, you don't require a SAN storage here. The problem is everything is on local host only. Everything is on local host only. But but what you do with this 8 TB? Okay. So let's say for example, one data store. You have created one VM on top of this host. Where it will save? It is saved in this. Right? Is there any option? It will go and save in this data store only, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now remember this picture. Now what I'm saying, I have 4 hosts in the diagram. Okay. And I will connect all the 4 hosts in one switch. One switch. This is different. This is different. Take one cable, connect to switch. But you have a management, right? We have a customer data. Means here you have distributed switch. Here you have kernel port. This is okay, but I purchased one or two 10 GB cables, 10 GB network. This is understood. That is different,
Yes.
and this network is different. So what happened? This is one switch only. Remember, this is one switch. So in this, it has, my God, this it has 16 hard disk like this. Okay. So what I did, imagine I'm drawing the data store down the side. I have one common data store which is 33 TB, just like in the previous picture, which came from this, this, this logically, right? So if I create a VM, if I create a VM, this VM customer will come and access this VM like this. Okay, but this VM is sitting on data store. This data store is this data store. This data store is visible on this. On all the four hosts, you will see the data store. Agree?
Yes.
So this VM is running on this data store. But this data store is combination of 14, 14, 14, 14, around 56 hard drives. Combination of 56 hard drives means your VM not necessarily it will save one, it will save on the hard disk, one of the hard disk on this host. It can save on this hard disk as well. Who knows? Everything is managed by vSAN, right? At that time, whatever the data that customer is writing on this VM, this will go on save on this possible hard disk. There is no limitation, right? You have one
Yes.
data
Yes.
store. One data store is combination of 54 disk. Okay, data store can write a data in any disk. So this VM data is saved on this hard disk. But when customer is accessing the data, he should not face any slowness. He should not face any slowness. So what you will do, you have that, you remember you have the two SSDs, 1 TB here, 1 TB here, 1 TB here, two 1 TB disk, right? Out of 16, two are SSDs there. So
Yes.
these two SSDs will be attached to this data store. All the 8 SSDs will be attached to this data store as a cache tier. This you call it as technically capacity. This is capacity tier is what actually customer is using. Cache means what will happen if this VM is requesting some data on this hard disk. Okay, now frequently user is requesting the same data from this hard disk. Okay, what happened? This data will be cached into this hard disk. When the request came to the same from the same VM next time, so it will automatically pull from cache and give it to the customer. So what happens? This hard drive is 10 times or at least 5 times slower than SSD, that, so that the performance will be increased. Frequently accessed data will be moved on to SSDs in each host, so that if some host or some host is facing some issue or some slowness, what happen when the customer is requesting the data from for any specific VM, if the data is residing on the other host, not on the same host where the VM is running, in that case cache will help to improve the performance of the customer machine. Understood? So means for these 14 drives, this will act as a cache. Means if these hard drives are performing slow and customer is facing some slowness, just to avoid that, whatever the data out of these 14 hard drives, 10 TB data is written. Example, oh sorry, 4 TB data is written. Example. Okay, 4 TB. Out of these 14 hard drives, 4 TB data is written so far. Out of 4 TB, 20 GB customer is asking every second. Means very frequently, randomly, customer is asking the 20 GB. What it will do? The 20 GB data it will copy onto the cache. When the request came in for the next time, it will directly serve it from the cache. Understood? Irrespective of what VM it is. Right? Clear? How to test this? How to test this in our lab? In real time, the configuration is little different. Okay, VMware has also got vSAN feature. With that, we can create this. Now, you people created 3 hosts. Can you tell me what are the 3 hosts? You created 3 hosts, right?
Yes.
Okay. All the 3 hosts has got 3 different hard drives. 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB in our lab. You remember?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'll do, I'll take these 8 GB drives as a capacity. Okay. And these 4 GB drives are there, no? On each host, there is a 4 GB drives. So these 4 GB drives, I will treat it as a cache, just like this example. Okay. Now 8, 8, 8. How much? 24. Right? You should get around 22 or 23 GB data store, and this will act as a cache. This is what the configuration I should see in the lab. Very easy. Okay, but it the administration part and the configuration and the criteria and the performance tuning, if you consider all these aspects, vSAN has separate administration part, I can say, or vSAN is altogether a big topic that you can spend at least 10 days to learn. Understood? If you go to
Yes.
VMware vSAN administration PDF, you will see around 200-page PDF. Let's see quickly before we start with the lab. Lab is very simple. It will take hardly 10 minutes for me. Okay, VMware vSAN documentation. See, 3 days course, official 3 days course, VMware vSAN. Okay, I'm just giving you just a hint or just an overview, I can say. I'm not going in detail on vSAN administration. Understood?
Yes.
Very, very big topic. You can see day one, day two, day three, and modules they give a multiple modules. You can spend some time on this. Okay, later on when you got the access. Let me log in. Okay, what's the IP of your host? You created, right, for your host. Any one IP at least. What is IP of your host? These host. 40.51, 52, 53. Okay. Let me go back. Development cluster is still there. What I will do, I'll go to the development cluster and add host. What is the host? 40.51, right? 192.68.52, right? all the three hosts. We'll try to add it. Cannot connect it to. Let's see. Might be VLAN or something. Yeah, VLAN is wrong. Put it on VLAN 40. It's a mistake. Now you see it's working. Now hit right. Okay. 51 is already added and removed. That is the reason why it is not showing the SSH key, because that is already added previously. We have added once and removed it. Now everything is under cluster. Okay. Let me, by default they will be in the maintenance mode. You have to exit from the maintenance mode. Okay. So click exit on all the three hosts. What we have to do, if you look at on the 51, there is one local disk, man. We need to delete the data store, because I cannot, this 8 GB is already formatted, right? Okay, let's see, let's try to unmount the data store. Okay, and this 8 GB is already formatted. Then if it is already formatted, how you will use it in the vSAN? You cannot use it, right? So I need to delete this. It's not even unmounting. What to do now? Let me put the host into maintenance mode again and do the maintenance task. Unmount. Let's see. You are still getting the error. System is busy. What it has? Does it have something? Browse. Nothing, man. Nothing. It is inside. Let's try one more time. Otherwise, I will add another 8 GB disk. What's wrong with it? Nothing to worry. You can see it's not working. Let me go back and quickly assign another 8 GB to this. We'll leave that 8 GB local disk. This one, right? Edit settings. Add hard drive. Another 8 GB I will add. Leave about that 8 GB. What we can do. That we can delete later on. That's not an issue. Okay, done. So let's see if it is automatically discovered over here, or I still need to reboot the host. See, it is not discovered. reboot. Give me like 2 minutes. We'll reboot this host. Automatically, you will see two 8 GB drives here. This is SAN drives, local drives, and the SAN drives. Nice. But in this, only local drives will be there. But one I have already formatted. If you go to other host, it is not formatted. Right? So let's wait. It is being rebooted. Then close. Go to vCenter and exit from maintenance mode. Right. Exit from maintenance mode, and you see two 8 GB drives. Okay. Now let's see if the existing also will. You're getting some error. Okay, leave it. We have another 8 GB, right? So now with this configuration, we can configure. We can configure. Remember the configuration? We can configure 24 GB capacity and 12 GB cache. How to do that? Let's see. Go to vCenter, go to cluster, and minimize, configure. If you minimize, you will see option called vSAN. Okay, where in cluster, even if you go to production cluster, if you minimize all the options, at the last you'll see vSAN. By default, it's turned off. Okay, remember vSAN is cluster level feature. How many hosts that we can add into vSAN cluster? The number of hosts that which belongs to the cluster, 64, right? Maximum 64 hosts that you can keep it in one cluster. So you can configure vSAN for how many hosts? 64. How to do that? Let's see quickly. Go to services. vSAN is turned off. Configure single site cluster, two host vSAN cluster, or stretched cluster. Okay, each host is considered to reside in its own fault domain. Okay, single site cluster, and two hosts at one site and witness host at another site. Witness host contains only metadata of existing. Stretched cluster means across two different regions. I'll say simple single site cluster for our lab demo. Next. Okay. If you want to enable deduplication, encryption, compression, no, I don't want to do any of these things. Large scale cluster support, 32 nodes. Oh, I have only 3 nodes. No need to enable it. So if you look at it, it is automatically discovering the devices in each host. In each host. So it's group by host. If you look at on 51, on 51, two drives. What it is suggesting? One will be capacity tier, another one will be cache tier. And 4 GB automatically suggesting cache, 8 GB automatically suggesting capacity. Same thing on all the hosts if you look at. Okay. If you don't want to use this host to be added into the cluster, vSAN data store cluster or vSAN storage, you can simply set do not claim. So that those two disk or this host is not part of vSAN. Okay, so capacity tag and cache tag is mandatory. Okay, so if capacity tag 24 GB, cache tag 12 GB. Okay, next, all the three hosts, yes, go back. With the current configuration, you can tolerate up to one failure. That is what I'm saying, right? Next, finish. That's it. You'll see all the, see, it is creating a cluster. Okay, it is creating a cluster. If you go to data stores, data stores, you'll see
Is on progress.
that is in progress. It is, see, it is creating one cluster. Leave about this 8 GB one. Okay, rest all it is creating one cluster. If you refresh, you will see one disk will be added. One disk will be added, so that it this capacity will keep on increasing. It's creating disk group. Once a disk group is created, one disk will be added from each host to this data store. And if you look at the file system format, vSAN. See, done. You got 24 GB, 23.98, 3 into 8, 24. After overhead and all, 23.98, and after the format, after it formatted the drive, it become 23.63. If you go to first host data stores, you will see same thing and a local one. Go to second, you will see only SAN storage, vSAN storage. Third, only vSAN. So what we did in earlier sessions, we have configured the storage from SAN, some remote network storage. But this time we have configured SAN storage using the local disk itself. Understood? Okay. But what is the advantage for medium and small customers? Okay, without spending too much of expenditure or too much of capital in SAN products. That is one advantage. Okay, why we need the network storage? From day after tomorrow onwards, from Monday onwards, we'll do the HADRS, FT, and update manager, all these things, all these testings. So that time you will understand why we need this distributed switch, why we need this network storage or SAN storage, all these things. That will come to know the usage or the significance of these two. So for any of those functions to work properly, we need proper network configuration and SAN storage, or you can call it a shared storage, not even a SAN. vSAN is not a SAN storage, right? vSAN is local storage only, but it vSAN technology helped us to create shared data store across all the host. If the data store is shared across all the host, you can achieve the high availability functionality. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Vivek, any questions? Yes, he is on mute. No problem. Any questions from you?
No, sir.
Okay, let me stop here. Let me stop here. You can watch this video.